What do you consider to be a victimless crime? Downloading a movie, book, TV show, or video game that is no longer available from the original creators. I'd like to clarify that when I say original creators, I mean the writers, designers, editors, authors, artists, as well as producers, distributors, and manufacturers. Whoever owns the rights to whatever it is you're pirating. If you want to buy it, but they're not selling it anymore, oh well. Piracy ahoy. Or downloading a NES game by a SNES game that I had when I was a kid that I've lost over the years. You already got my money. That and any main game that I put greater than $50 worth of quarters in my life. Yeah, I'm looking at you 4-player X-Men at the roller skating rink. Possession of marijuana. People could make the argument that you are funding organized crime and so funding someone else's misery. So the actual victimless crime would be growing your own weed. Growing and possessing your own weed is truly a victimless crime, whereas buying it and possessing it could be seen to have damaging repercussions depending on where you got it. Consensual homosexual sex. It's still illegal in many countries, shockingly. Though there was a hilarious incident in Aceh, the only Indonesian province to practice Sharia law, when 2 lesbians were caught living together. The Muslim judge ruled that even though homosexual acts like anal and oral sex are illegal, there's nothing against lesbian sex. The crowd was pissed. The judge challenged them to find anything in the Quran about lesbian sex, and they can't find any. All they could do was charge one of the women for dressing up like a man. Do lesbians not have oral sex? Oral sex is probably described as going down on a man. It never occurred to them that women enjoy oral. Watching Norp before you turn 18. I feel like it could give you a view of sex that wasn't healthy and make you obsessive about objectifying certain acts. I don't think it should be a crime, but something that the parents regulate more tightly. LOL. Mom, can I please watch that new titty fucking video? Only if the woman has natural tits. I don't want you getting the wrong impression. Swearing. Who decided these specific words are unable to be said? Fuck that. Where do you live that makes swearing a crime? Somewhere with the FCC. I really hate the FCC's stance on swearing. I want swearing on TV. There are things that I find distasteful on TV. I just turn the channel. I don't go around telling other people that they can't watch it. Let's talk about nudity for a minute too. The vast majority of people have nipples. We've all seen them. Boobs? Half the world has, or will have, boobs. Most of the rest of the world has seen, or wants to see, boobs. What are you protecting people from? Blowjobs in Malaysia. It's illegal in Singapore too. There are places where anal sex is illegal, or legal, with a lot of asterisks. I don't understand open container laws. If your passengers want to drink, why can't they? It's pretty much consent to a sobriety test if you get pulled over, but if you're sober, or con someone else into driving, then there shouldn't be anything to worry about. Over the summer we went to a wedding and a bus picked up everyone from the hotel, had a huge cooler filled with drinks, and we got semi-bombed on the hour ride, but that was perfectly legal, I guess. Don't get it at all. You can't even be a pedestrian with an open container in some places. Some places it's illegal to walk home drunk. That is fucking oppression in my opinion. Alcohol laws are rather extreme in many places. In most places, if you choose to leave a bar and sleep it off in your car, an officer can wake you up and charge you with a DUI. What a fact? There are altering circumstances, like where the keys are, etc., but still. Also, if an officer really wants to be a dick, empty beer cans in the back of a pickup truck can be considered an open container charge, and could potentially lead to a DUI arrest as well. Screw the facts, like the results of a breathalyzer. If the officer gives you a field sobriety test and judges you to be impaired, you're going to jail. Missouri has a buddy law: passengers in a vehicle can drink, and there can be 1 fewer open containers in a vehicle as there are people in the vehicle. Got pulled over in Kansas once with a cooler that had 6 empty beer cans. 6 people in the car, so they wrote open container tickets for everyone in the car, despite the fact nobody was drinking in the car. Sounds like a good reason to litter. Feeding an expired parking meter for someone. Where I live, you get a huge fine if caught. Prostitution. All sex forces you to pay one way or another. Selling is legal. Fucking is legal. Why isn't selling fucking legal? George Carlin. Hunting is legal. People is legal. Why isn't hunting people legal? George Carlin. The problem that no water drop thinks they are responsible for the flood. After reading the comments, I suddenly understand why there are so many people in prison. Downloading PDF versions of my textbooks. McGraw-Hill is hardly even paying those authors anything. I used to work with a guy who was a college dropout before he joined the Marines. Anyway, he was a criminal justice major, and one of his professors told them a story about a victimless crime. A groundskeeper at a local cemetery had buried 3 people that day. Before he left, he put down grass so that the graves didn't look naked and like piles of dirt. He arrives the next morning and one of the graves didn't have grass on it anymore. This confused the guy because he remembered putting it on all 3, and the other 2 were still covered. He checked the grave and he decided to call the cops just to be safe. The cops asked a couple questions, and the deceased at that grave was a ward of the state, and they didn't need to get permission to dig the grave up to investigate. They get the coffin out, and it has been broken into. They open the grave, there's the woman's head and chest, and a set of legs, no lower torso. The cop, who was my friend's professor, asked the groundskeeper how long since the body was buried. It was buried the day before. How could someone dig up a body and bury it again all in one night without the use of a machine? Oh well, let's look around the graveyard a bit. There was a mausoleum being built in the front of the property, and the cop and the groundskeeper go to take a look. They find a hole has been dug under the foundation. They climb in it and find you can crouch and walk around. They see numerous beer cans, garbage bags, condom wrappers, a woman's torso, wait, what the fuck? They found the body's missing part. By law, because the deceased was a ward of the state and had no family, unlike the other 2 people buried that same day, it was considered a victimless crime. To this day, the professor, retired cop, asks his student to keep their ears open at bars, hoping to hear a story told by a drunk guy about how he dug up a body and buried most of it again in one night. The guy can't get in trouble. The cop just wants to know how the hell he did it. Jaywalking when there are clearly no cars going to hit you. I get the law when you're being reckless, but if I'm trying to cross on a one-way and there are clearly no cars coming and I'm an able-bodied person, there's no reason it should be a ticketable offense. Jaywalking is one of many laws that could be replaced by a blanket. Don't be stupid. Since that law would never be enforceable, legislators choose to micromanage. Jaywalking doesn't exist as a law in England. We really do have a don't be stupid law. It's called the Green Cross Code. Where there is a crossing nearby, use it. Otherwise, choose a place where you can clearly see in all directions. Blasphemy. Going through a red light late at night when nobody is coming for miles in either direction, and you've been waiting for 10 minutes and god fucking damn it, why won't you just turn green, you smug son of a bitch? Consensual polygamous or homosexual relationships. I never got why so many people who are for gay marriage and are against polygamous marriages. The same argument people use for the one can be applied to the other. As far as I am concerned, if you are an adult and are freely choosing to do it, you can marry whoever you want. The argument against polygamous marriage is that it tends to be abused. In Canada, there have been a lot of problems with men with multiple wives collecting their version of welfare and passing all the checks up to the husband. In Utah, they have problems with young boys being expelled from towns due to old dudes trying to get their hands on young women and not wanting the competition. The fact is, one man cannot typically care for 2 or more women and 2 families unless he is rich or they practice very responsible family planning, so the poly families end up living off the state. It also tends to lead to a lot of child abuse. Polygamous marriage seems nice for cute little swingers who live out west, but it is so prone to abuse that it should remain illegal. Changing your IP address to get services offered only in the US. For example, getting Netflix US and Canada, it's technically illegal, but it's horse shit that someone a 2-hour drive away from me can get access to tons of incredible shows and movies that I don't have access to just because of the technicalities of who has the rights to them once you cross the border. Horse shit, I tell ya. Distilling liquor for personal consumption. If you don't do it right, you could quite possibly be a victim, similar to doing your own electrical wiring or invasive surgery. What do you consider to be a victimless crime? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.